Hey guys, what's up? This is Vinnie Stevens here, and welcome to another video for my channel, and welcome to another top 5 final reviews. This is kind of a special to that I do at the end of each series of vinyl reviews, where I pick out my top 5 vinyls from the current series of vinyl reviews, as well as a potential candidate for that didn't make the list. So I am doing this video as another top 5 from this series of series 2 of vinyl reviews. So yeah, I will be saying about my review of the album and how I actually got the album. So enough of me talking, let's get on with the video. So my review. So I would rate this album a 9 out of 10. This is a brilliant album. It is some brilliant all-time classic Fleetwood Mac songs, as well as some all-time classic rock songs as well. I love this album. I don't tend to play it that much, but I do often. If I want to change, I'll put it on. It is one of my all-time favourite albums, and it's the only real Fleetwood Mac album that I like. I do like some of their later stuff, and I'm more into this era of the band, and they are a bit of an influence on me. I'm not a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. When I started to get into this type of music, I would tended to listen to Fleetwood Mac's greatest hit albums, and a load of the songs on this album would have been on it. I got this album at the start of this year. It was my first album I brought at the time. I had no real intention of buying it. I know when I got a vinyl player, people said to me, "Oh, you need to have this album in your collection." Before I got this album, it was actually selling near a supermarket near me, but for the price of a new vinyl, I came across this one for only £8. I'm not going to try and convert that into dollars or euros, in the shop in my hometown, Bendon Sounds. At first I wasn't going to buy it, but a mate of mine kind of was like, "Are you thinking of getting it?" And I'm like, I kind of thought about it when I was standing there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and get money out and buy this album. Eventually did buy it in the end, of course, and then when I stuck it on the first time, I just fallen in love with this album. But no, it's a brilliant album, and to be honest, this review was quite actually hard to what to say in it. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. So yeah. So coming in at number 4 is Queen News of the World. So my review on this album, I rated this album a 9 out of 10. This is the third Queen album I have in my collection. The other two being Sheer Heart Attack and Night of the Opera. I kind of put this album in the middle. I think it's better than the Sheer Heart Attack, as it's the first album that has the kind of classic Queen sound. I rated this 8 out of 10, and I think this album is not as good as Night of the Opera, which was kind of like the breakthrough album. I still think News of the World is a brilliant album. It's one of the best Queen albums, as this was released at the peak of Queen's career. How I got this album, ever since I started my vinyl collection, I wanted to kind of build up a 70s Queen collection, and this was near the top of my wish list. How I got this album, one day I was in a shop in my town called Bendon Sounds. I was looking through the used collection and came across this. Now at first I didn't buy it. Then the next day I kind of listened to the album on Spotify and decided to go back and get it in the end. And to this day, it is actually the cheapest vinyl that I've bought. There is a few scratches on the LP, but still plays well on the sleeve, which it's got a protected cover, is a bit ripped. But I love this album cover. I love the album cover, and it's one of my favourite album covers, and I think this is a brilliant, like, it's got 2 songs on it that I grew up listening to. We Were Rocky and We Are the Champions, and these were the songs that got me into Queen. So yeah, on to number 3. So number 3 is AC/DC Back in Black. So I rated this album a 10 out of 10. Now, like, previous albums I've reviewed, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, Queen's Night of the Opera, Meatloaf Battery of Hell, I found it hard when making that video what to say about the album. It's such a brilliant album. There's so many good songs on that album, and this is one of my all-time favourite albums, and it was on my wish list for a long time. I got that album last Christmas along with AC/DC Highway to Hell and Led Zeppelin 4. It's not an original one, unfortunately. It's a remastered and a new album. The only problem I actually find with new vinyls is, compared to old ones, is they seem to scratch more easy. Even if you play them a couple of times with mine, it seems to skip once every song, but I don't really worry about that. But the vinyl is in good condition, and when I got this, funny enough, I usually just stick a vinyl on right away, but I just kind of waited for a while, put it on, then, and it just felt special because the songs just sound so much better on vinyl than digitally. Like, I have been a big AC/DC fan since I was 11. It's the first proper band I was properly into, and I bet I forgot to put in to the review as well. A lot of the songs, like Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, and Shoot the Thrill, Hell's Bells, and Rock and Roll and Noise Pollution. Those were kind of all songs that got me into AC/DC. Like Kiss, I'm really big into them. I have like a few AC/DC t-shirts. One actually is Back in Black. I've had for a few years. I've never really got to see them live. They came to my country, but they played in Dublin a few years ago. But I was a year too young for the age requirement to actually go to that gig. I got into a load of their, as I said, I've gone to a load of songs. I first started actually listening to them from Brian Johnson's era of the band. I was mostly into. I didn't get into Bon Scott's era until like later on. This album was like, as I said, it was like the first AC/DC album I've listened to full, and after this album, their next album was good. After that, there was a bit of a slope, and then in the early 90s with Raise Your Edge, I would be into, and it would be up there with Back in Black, mid-90s, bit of a slope again. But the way these albums have such good songs, the ones in the 80s, 90s and 2000s, and up to Black Ice as well, and they're even their latest album, Rock and Bust. It's a good album, even though Malcolm's Young's not in it, and I don't know, it's just not the same. Like, as I said in this review, what I felt about the band now, and I still do feel this. I am a bit sad, pretty much. All the members are gone except Angus, even though I played Angus for keeping AC/DC live, and bringing in old members. But with Axl Rose, who's lead singer from Guns N' Roses, it's just not the same. Yeah, Axl is a good singer singing Welcome to Jungle, but not Back in Black. Just don't get the same feeling I feel from Angus. and I feel like I should wrap up ECDC, like, and they've been here for over 40 years, and they put some brilliant albums out, but all in all, this is a brilliant album, probably one of their best albums, and a brilliant band. Since that review, apparently, all members like Brian Johnson and stuff were seen at a recording studio in Vancouver, so possibly rumour that a new album might be coming. So anyway, on to number 2. So number 2, sorry, is, if I can get it, Bad Out of Hell by Meatloaf, and I forgot to hold the album up, so there you go. So I rated this album 10 out of 10 for a couple of reasons. 5 of them was this album has become one of my all-time favourite albums, still is. Ever since I got a vinyl player, people had said to me that this album had to be in my collection. Like, I was never a fan of Meatloaf till I heard this album. I actually had no real intention of buying this album at first, but when I first heard it playing on vinyl, it just blew me away. I never really had it off since. Just the sound of it, it's nothing like I ever had heard before. I do like someday to get the other 2 Bad Out of Hell albums as well. Didn't actually say that in the review. So before I got this album, I only ever heard 1 or 2 Meatloaf songs, and it was off this album. You Take the Words Out of My Mouth, but didn't have that Summer's Night intro. It was like this before I ever started to get into bands. How I got this album, I got it in August 2017, so as of 2018, last year. I was home for a couple of weeks after going away. I made a mate of mine went to a shop called Coons. This is where I bought previous LPs and future LPs, which I might review from, and showing, like, I was going through like the cheap stuff like that's really cheap. Kind of was going through it. Pulled this one out. My mate was telling me, "Oh, you should buy it," which I ended up doing. Like, it's probably one of my cheapest vinyls I've brought up to then, and still is actually one of my cheapest. Fortunately, it's not reconditioned. It is still played really well, like a new record. The cover of it is about Rick, and I said never had this off when I first got it. Actually, I found out this is actually, I think it might actually be original copy, but I don't know. A couple of months later, local supermarket. Now, I don't know now, since I've moved to Millsborough, if they still have it, but when that video was recorded and released, they only had started to do it as a new LP of this album, but the price of it was for the price of a new vinyl, and I kind of lucky got an original one. I actually found it really interesting doing a bit of research into the album at the time. There was a lot of stuff I actually didn't know about it, and it's got me into concept albums, and before it wasn't really my taste in music. I thought it was a bit too musical for my taste, but I've actually grown to love the album so much, and I still love it. So on to potential candidates. So I kind of had between 3 albums, and I kind of narrowed it down to 2. So ECDC Highway to Hell was one, but I kind of had picked it over Back in Black instead. And these 2 are actually live albums. So it's first one would be Kiss Alive and Thin Lizzy Live. Sorry, Live and Dangerous. So my reviews on these two albums are going to start with Kiss Alive. So I rated this album 10 out of 10. I know I rated the same score as other albums, but I listened to these albums and reviewed them honestly. But I think this album was one of the best ever live albums I've ever heard, and one of the best Kiss albums. This is actually one of my all-time favorite albums. It got some good songs on it from their first three albums, and these are the songs that actually got me into Kiss. This was the first album that got me into Kiss. Like, I am such a huge Kiss fan. I've got like Kiss things like mugs, which I actually have got here. So that's a Kiss mug, Kiss t-shirt, and I have a live box set of all the live CDs. I would love to see them live, and I would love to see them play this album for you, but I nearly forgot how I got into this album. I'm not sure. I don't think this is that vinyl was original in 1975 copy. It may have been reissued one, but I was in a place called Coons in my hometown, back home. This was the last vinyl I think I brought in 2017, so last year. I went through one day, came across this, and a guy, he actually sold me the Love Gun Kiss record, sent me who was the guy at the stall in Belfast, said if you ever came across the Kiss Alive album, buy it, and yeah, which I did. It's probably one of those albums I listened to so much on the diesel release. I kind of don't listen to it as much on vinyl, but I would stick it on if I want to listen to some live stuff. But I love this album. Since then the video has been released, Kiss has now announced the final tour, and they are touring in Newcastle, pretty close to where I am now. This is their last ever tour, because they're breaking up after, because they've been around for so many years. So on to number one. So number one is, if I can get it up here, is Led Zeppelin 4. Now obviously this was going to be number one. Like, as I said, I rated this album 10 out of 10. Now, what I think of this album is one of the best albums I've ever heard, and I think I got it in my collection. Like, it's one of my all-time favorite songs on this album, like Stairway to Heaven. Like, I'm not a huge Led Zeppelin fan. It took me years, like, to get into their music. I think they were one of the first bands I tried to get into at first, but didn't really feel like the music and me were connecting. I first listened and actually watched Led Zeppelin at Celebrations Day, like the reunion show they did like 10 years ago. That's kind of what first drew me into listening to Led Zeppelin, and kind of moved on to listen to some of their greatest hits, mostly from their first couple of albums. A mate of mine, like, grew me into listening to them more, and when I first got a vinyl, people were like saying to me, "Oh, you need to get this Led Zeppelin 4 on vinyl." I got this as a Christmas present along with the AC/DC albums. I didn't listen to it first, then I put it on and it just blew me away. I felt that connection between me and the music actually hit me. So yeah, so it's probably one of my most played albums. And unfortunately, it's not actually an original 1971 vinyl. It's a 2014 reissued. And about a year ago, Actually, I got to see Robert Plant, who's the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, play live on his latest album. But as a 20, his gig was sold out. But all in all, I love his album. It's one of my all-time favorites, and that's why it's number one on this another top 5 vinyl reviews. So I'm going to wrap this video up. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the instant notifications bell in the description below. So I will be doing another vinyl video. This time it's going to be a top 10 from the last 2 series of vinyl reviews. So that is something to look forward to. It will be the next video that will be going up. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and I guess see ya.